This is Rock and Roll English. Real people, real English. Here's your host, Martin Johnston.
Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Rock and Roll English, episode number, I do have it right here, I just was looking, episode number 374. Oh, you thought I didn't know, didn't you? But I do. So yes, here we are for a podcast where I talk to Champagne Shah about parks, gardens, the outdoors. Okay. I also sent an email recently. I don't really send that many emails, mainly because I'm a bit lazy. But it was quite an interesting one. So if you haven't, give that a read. If you are not on your email address, on my email list, get in contact, okay? Because what you're doing, when I do send an email, I like to think they're bloody good, okay? Because they do take quite a long time to write, actually. Probably why I don't do it so much. But have a read of that. It will also explain why this podcast is coming out a day late. Anyway, here is the conversation. Happy listening. Champagne Shah, how are you today?
Hello, I'm very well. How are you?
Always fantastic, always fantastic. You know what, I almost just said there, now the weather's nice, but I thought we can't talk about the weather, can we, on Rock and Roll English?
It's a very British thing to do. I think we could.
It is, but it is amazing how positive a bit of sunshine makes you feel, isn't it? Just because I don't think people appreciate how dark and gloomy it is, like, all the time here. And a bit of sunshine, it's literally like everyone goes mad, isn't it?
It really does, because I don't think it's just the sunshine and the heat. It's the fact that it's no longer grey.
Exactly. It's the grey. It's the grey which is the killer, isn't it? Although I have seen it's going to be grey a few days next week. So don't get ahead of yourself, okay? We still live in the UK. Anyway, Champagne Shah, do you know how we usually start the show?
We should hopefully have a review. And
you won't believe this, but we do. And not only that, it's an iTunes review.
Oh, going up in the world.
Oh, this is what we want. I randomly came across this. It's from 2 months ago, apparently. And it's from Hussein John. And it says, timeless podcast. You could listen to this 30 years later and it would still be interesting. Boom, shaka, laka. So
that is credit indeed.
Exactly. And that's all you need. Just a few words like that. And it makes such a difference to my small, pathetic life. So if people could do that, it would be very much appreciated.
Although, could it be said that it's timeless because we are old in our ways? We are beyond our age.
Well, it's funny you say that, actually, because that's kind of what we're going to be talking about today. But yeah, I think you may be right. I think I was born like that as well. So even when we first met, Champagne Shah, obviously at university, we both actually had a year out, didn't we? So we were both 19 when we started. But
so old.
Yeah. You know what? I actually remember talking to you just before, because obviously we've got birthdays that are extremely close to each other. And just before we turned 20, and I remember you saying, like, "Oh, I don't want to be 20," and I was quite pleased about it, actually. I remember thinking, I'm such an adult now.
I've never really enjoyed getting older. I think I don't feel my age. I don't feel like I should have this responsibility and this life. I think in my mindset, I'm still only 22, 23. I just can't recover like a 22, 23-year-old anymore.
I think the same, because when I use the word adult, I mean, I must admit, turning 40 was a big thing where I started thinking, I must be an adult now. I have to be. But like you said, I still think, how much should I be trusted with children and a house and a mortgage? I don't. One day it's just going to fall apart, I'm telling you.
And I always think, I'm sure I don't look my age. I'm sure I look younger. And then I see photos of me 10 years ago and I think, I was so young and fresh and I didn't have bags or grey.
Yeah, I know how you feel. But I sometimes say to students, actually, that sometimes they might say, "Sir, how old are you?" I always say, "How old do you think?" And that's always a bad thing. It's always, like, 48? Fuck you.
See, that was the joy of working with children, because they'd always say 21, 22. Right.
Yeah, no, so I generally work with like 16, 17-year-olds that I think they want to offend me. Just
Oh, yes.
yeah. But anyway, so on to today's pod. As well, I mentioned we had a quick chat about gardens earlier, didn't we? About
Riveting as always.
who says that we're like old beyond our age. So I was going to talk about gardens because, as I showed you my pictures, I've recently redone my garden. But then I thought we can't really. So the pod is parks and gardens, okay? Because you know what, parks. Until I lived abroad, I didn't appreciate them, because where I lived in Italy, there weren't many parks, the greenery. But you know what? Now I bloody love a good park. When I was young, I remember actually going through the park thinking, because I was like going to school or going into town and just thinking, fucking hell, this park just doesn't stop. Like, I just want to get there. I'm not interested. Now, when I cycle home, I go through the park and I just look at the trees and think, oh, God, this is beautiful. This is beautiful.
I 100% agree. I absolutely love a park, and I don't know whether that's age or whether we've had children and it's a very easy hour out of the house.
Oh yeah. It's just a feel. I think they call it mindfulness now, don't they?
They do.
When you're in the moment. But saying that, so when I cycle home, when I go through the park, because the stretch through the park isn't very big. You know what? I actually could take a slightly longer route to go through much more park.
But I
think I can't be bothered. I just want to get home. So that's really how much I love parks. I still want to get home as quickly as possible. And I often think to myself, when I get to the park bit, I need to be in the moment, and then I'll often get out the park and think, oh fuck, I was just thinking about like the 1999 Champions League semi-final for all of that time. I didn't even see the trees, so I really have to like try and focus to keep myself on the park. Otherwise, I'm just thinking about nonsense.
Have you ever just gone for a walk because it felt like a nice thing to do?
No, is the answer. I've mentioned this before. I'm very uncomfortable with that, because what I feel uncomfortable with is I just don't like. So you're walking through the park, for example, and there's a bit where you can turn right or left. That stresses me out, because I think if I turn like right, then where am I going? How long is it going to take me to get home? There are too many thoughts. I can't do that. I need a destination always.
Right. You need a bit more mindfulness.
You know what? I've tried all that. I mean, I'm open-minded, all of this, and I just find it and I've even been to yoga, and like when they do there was a bit at the end when they're like humming, like, for anyone that does yoga, my impression of what I'm about to do is not obviously correct, but there was something she was saying, something like hum bada 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 bum, or something like this, right? Saying like, just keep your thoughts on your breath. And all that's going through my mind is, when someone tells you to do that, if it's like, don't think of an elephant, you think of an elephant. So when people are saying like, just concentrate on your breath, it's like, just focus. Something's going on in my mind. It's just going mad. So I just can't do it.
And then I'm thinking, am I breathing right? Yeah. Do I breathe too loudly? Am I not breathing loudly enough? Does she know that I'm breathing?
Exactly. And then I start thinking, I don't always think about breathing, but do I always breathe? Like, there are just so many thoughts go. So it's worse. Like, if anything, when someone's telling me to be mindful, I'm less mindful than I am normally. I find the pressure of having to be mindful. I don't enjoy that.
Right. You need to just give yourself an hour and not worry about where you end up. Just go to the park and turn left.
Yeah, but then wherever I do end up, I'll be like, how am I going to get home from here? I cannot switch off like that. But okay, on parks, right? We've both said we like parks. Here's the next question though. Would you walk through a park at night by yourself?
It depends on the park.
Okay, what about like down by your canal? Because like, that sounds dodgy to me as well.
There's no lighting.
You could get murdered and thrown in the canal like, easily.
Yes. So I was showing you earlier, wasn't I? The pub that I go to is along the canal, which is incredibly convenient. Are
you going to say loads of people just get drunk and end up in the canal?
No, I actually have at times worried, because my walk is 3 minutes along the canal to
You're
this
making
pub.
out like this is like a daily walk. Like it's like my walk, like, you know, my way to work is my way to the local pub. It's like, you know, every day. I go there at 9 in the morning.
Yeah, they do
Yeah.
good coffee. You can go at 9 in the morning.
Oh, wow.
But so if I've gone and I've had too much to drink, I really worry about walking back because there's no lighting. Nobody else is walking that way because it's kind of,
No one
well,
wants
it's
to
not.
get
No one
killed
wants to
and
fall in the
yeah.
canal. So I always message my husband to say I'm on my way home. If I'm not home in 5, come and get me from the canal.
Like from inside the canal, like
Yes.
just
Well, we know how clumsy I am. If I'm going to fall over, I'm going to end up in that canal, aren't I?
do you take your life jacket when you go to the pub? You can never
Maybe
be
I
too
should.
you can never be too safe, can you?
No. So no, where the area where I am, I wouldn't want to walk there in the dark late at night on my own, just because there's no lighting and I would likely hurt myself. And I'm sure everybody I met is kind, but I grew up in London.
Well, yeah, no. So parks at night for me are just a no-no. So not that long ago, I played snooker, for example, with a few of my friends. It was like a Tuesday evening. I mean, it was about 9:30, and I was cycling home. I had to go through the park, and someone just spoke to me. I think he just said like he said. I'll say he didn't. He spoke to me, which he did, but he said something like, "All right, mate." And immediately I was thinking, he's going to kill me. He is
Yeah.
going to kill me. So I started cycling faster. He was on foot and went over a bridge. And then he started then abusing me because I was clearly ignoring him. And because all he had said was, all right, mate. I think he maybe wanted something, but I thought, I don't want to get involved in this conversation
No,
in a park with a strange man when it's dark.
no.
And then so he said, all right, mate. And then I quit. I clearly stepped up the pace. So he obviously noticed that I started cycling much faster. And then he said something. I don't remember what he said, but he definitely included he said like the fuck word. He said something
Right.
like, I was only fucking talking to you or something like that. And at that point I thought, he is going to murder me now.
Yeah, that's not someone that you want to just
No,
talk to you. No.
definitely not. Yeah,
No.
at that point because he had said, all right, mate. Now I could have stopped there because he didn't say that in a kind of aggressive way or rude way. But then when he said, I only want to fucking talk to you, I was hardly going to stop then, was I? And say,
No.
oh, right. Sorry, mate. I didn't realise you've been so polite. So let's have a chat. Let's become best friends.
I've watched too many crime documentaries or 24 hours in police custody to know that is not going to end well.
Yeah, a park at night for me is just a no-no.
But then when you think of the big parks like in London, St James's Park or Hyde Park, I think they'd be okay at night.
I don't know. I think it's a thing you've been brought up with, isn't it? For me, there's a park very close to me called Central Park, not the one in New York. If people are getting confused with that, the one in Chelmsford is a little bit different. I have been to Central Park in New York, slight difference. Although Central Park in Chelmsford is nice as well, but yeah, admittedly.
But Central Park in New York, they have like security, don't they?
Oh, do they? Oh,
I believe so.
Yeah.
I could be wrong there. Correct me. But in lots of TV shows, people are on horse-drawn carriages at night, aren't they?
Right. So.
Or ice skating.
Oh, right.
Central
Okay.
Park.
Yeah. Like you see in the films. Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
because they're real.
Exactly. The perfect reflection of real life. But yeah, the ones in London. So the last couple of years, only for one night because it's so expensive. We stay in a hotel in like central London and then go out and do lots of things. And as my son was certainly, the last couple of years, he's a bit better now, doesn't like sleeping. And we were all in a hotel room. I generally had to go out with him at like 5:30 in the morning. So he wouldn't wake up everyone else. But it was fantastic because we were cycling all around London because we take the bikes, cycling all around London at like 6 o'clock in the morning. It's great. And it was like, this is in the summer, so it's like nice and light and everything. And I have seen lots of drunk people in those parks, even St James's Park, because we'd do it on a Saturday night, so the Sunday morning, people that clearly haven't been to bed.
Yes.
I didn't, as you would be surprised to hear, I didn't stop to ask what they had been doing. But from looking at them, I had a pretty good idea of things that had been going on. So, yeah, no, I would not walk around. So that means even, like, it still turns my stomach to say King Charles, but doesn't walk around the park at night, I would imagine.
No.
Okay. So, yeah, big no for me. So, one thing as well, which when I put this into Chat GPT, which I just interested, I thought I'd bring this up to see if this happens in other places in the world. I'll just read it word for word because Chat GPT always being hilarious. It says, some park benches are memorial benches with plaques dedicated to people, which means you could be casually eating a sandwich on someone's emotional tribute. Which is true. So in the park, Central Park, again, not the one in New York, you sit on a bench and then you look and it says, this is for Deirdre and Jonathan, that's loved by. And so you have these things. And I don't know what it is about we dedicate benches to people. It's a strange thing, isn't it?
It is a strange thing. We've got that in our local park, not the area by my house, but like an actual proper park that has gates and it closes at night.
Oh, closes at night. Wow. My park doesn't do that. That means it's looked after.
It's a looked after one. It's like an old Victorian. So it's got a rose garden. It's got a cafe. It's really lovely. It's got beautiful blossom trees. It's quite well known for its blossom trees at this time of year.
Oh, wow.
So yes, one of the very few tourist attractions in my town.
And there's a memorial bench in there.
There's loads of memorial benches.
Loads.
And you have to be on a waiting list to get a plaque on these benches. You have to be on a
waiting list to get a bench.
And
wow.
they're only for so many years.
And gone.
But literally you walk through this park and you cannot sit down. The benches are full. Everyone's sat on them, admiring the views. So I can sort of see that that's a nice idea in that sense. If John sat on this bench with his cup of tea every Tuesday morning, that would be quite a nice plaque.
Well, did John sit on that bench with his cup of
Probably.
tea? But I thought he only got the bench when he died. So that's the thing. So where was he sitting before? He wasn't sitting on a bench, was he?
No, they're benches. They're part of the benches are part of the park. They belong to the park.
Okay, and then you get your name added, right?
Yes.
Okay.
They're not just adding more benches every time someone dies.
Well, because it's kind of like what came first, the chicken or the egg? What came first, like the bench or the plaque?
The bench.
Right. Okay, so we are going to stop the podcast right there whilst talking about plaques. The vocab, I didn't actually have time to go through it for the reasons that were in my email that I sent. Remember, you need to be on my email list to get the updates, okay? And basically, I had an observation at work, which is when all teachers get observed by like your boss to always keep you on your toes, to make sure you're doing things right, to give you feedback, to be constantly improving. And in my email, I likened this to learning a language, okay? It's never finished. It's never like I've completed the language. It's the same with teaching. You've never completed it. No one has ever reached the point, so that's it. I don't need to learn anymore. So the observation put me under a lot of pressure. I had to create a lot of documents. And that's where I had an idea. So get onto my email list if you would like to hear more about that. Just an idea at the moment, I just want to say. Anyway, I will talk to the people in the Rock and Roll English family again tomorrow for a podcast. But everyone else, I will see you in a couple of weeks. But in the meantime, just keep on rocking, baby.
Thanks so much for listening to Rock and Roll English. For more great content and to stay up to date, visit rockandrollenglish.com and facebook.com/rockandrollenglish. We'll catch you next time.